It's a new year and time to plan new adventures. The easiest way to travel more is to travel cheaper. And the best way to travel cheaper is to visit destinations where your money will go further. This is why I have created a list of what I think are the best budget travel destinations to visit this year. Number 1, Guatemala. Possibly my new favorite country, Guatemala is for the adventurous traveler. Here you could hike active volcanoes and watch them erupt, see ancient ruins, venture far out into the jungle, or relax by one of the most beautiful lakes in the world. For this really nice luxury hostel on Lake Atitlan, I paid $20 per night and only $8 per night for this eco hostel in Nanking. The tours are so reasonable here, I only paid $40 for my overnight volcano hike. This clip was taken with my old iPhone, that's how close we were. For street food, I paid between $2 to $4 per meal and $10 for a nicer sit-down meal. Make sure to try the pepian, it's worth the extra money. Turkey. Turkey is a vibrant and affordable destination. Istanbul is a bustling city with tons to do. Then you have probably seen pictures of the famous Cappadocia. Taking a hot air balloon ride here will set you back a few hundred, but you could also just watch them take off for free from a rooftop somewhere. Turkish food is also delicious and relatively cheap. The Philippines. This is the definition of paradise on a budget. Palawan may very well be the most beautiful place I have ever seen, and it is my favorite tropical getaway. You can't miss island hopping in Coron and El Nido, swimming with sardines in Cebu, or the surfing capital in Siargao. So far, I've only visited El Nido and Coron, so I will be speaking to prices in that area specifically. Island hopping tours in Coron with lunch included costed $28, and island hopping in El Nido costed between $22 and $26 depending on the tour. For hotels, I think we spent between about $15 and $50. I did make a complete video with exactly how much we spent while we were in the Philippines if you would like more information on the pricing. Next up is Albania, which in my opinion is one of the most underrated countries on the planet. Albania sits right between both Greece and Croatia, so you could expect the same exact beaches for a fraction of the cost. Albania also has what they call the Albanian Alps. It is truly a nature lover's paradise, and it is so affordable. I remember having an entire meal in Tirana for only 50 cents, and that included a drink and a dessert. And my hostel was only $8 per night. For hotels, you can find some for as low as $25. Colombia. Colombia has become a backpacker hotspot in recent years. When I was on my most recent trip to Guatemala, pretty much everyone was either coming from or going to Colombia. And it is worth a spot on any affordable travel destination list. Medellin has become popular for digital nomads, where Cartagena is popular for travelers. It is a colorful town close to the beach and was actually the first place I ever went to by myself. For food, you could expect to pay between $2 to $8 per meal, and accommodation can range from $8 to $20 for a hostel or between $50 to $80 for a hotel room. Nicaragua. If you dream of visiting Costa Rica, consider its neighbor Nicaragua instead. Nicaragua has everything that Costa Rica has, but it is less touristy and therefore cheaper. Next up is Mexico. Mexico is a beautiful and incredibly diverse country. They have every landscape you could want here, ancient ruins, and incredible wildlife. Cancun is expensive though. I would look into other destinations in Mexico. As far as the Yucatan goes, Bacalar Lagoon, Holbox Island, and even Merida are great alternatives to Cancun. But if you open yourself up to all the other incredible destinations in Mexico, you can save money by traveling elsewhere. To get around, you could take budget airlines, ADO buses, or even local buses. We took a local bus as a day trip to a nearby city while in Mexico, and we only spent 30 cents each way on that bus ride. Food costed us between $2 to $6, and when we splurged at a nice restaurant, it was about $10 per person. Accommodation will vary depending on where you are, but you could expect about $20 for a hostel or $40 to hundreds of dollars for a hotel room, depending on if you're getting a cheaper hotel room or a really expensive nice resort. Laos. Laos is one of the most underrated countries in Southeast Asia. It has such a laid-back vibe, and it is so relaxing after spending so much time in bustling cities like Hanoi. It is such a gem, honestly. When I was there, it was only $10 for a hotel room and only $3 per night for a hostel. Yes, $3. That was the cheapest hostel I have ever stayed in, and the quality was just fine. I went to Luang Prabang and visited Kwangsi Falls. I just loved it. I did create a Southeast Asia video with exactly how much I spent while I was backpacking Southeast Asia with a breakdown by country, so make sure you check that out if you'd like more information about Laos. Then I can't make a budget travel destination video without including Thailand. Thailand. Although it is one of the most visited countries in the world, it remains a very affordable travel destination. There are so many different places to see in Thailand, from Chiang Mai in the north to the islands in the south. Up in Chiang Mai, popular activities include playing with elephants and visiting the nearby jungle. I was lucky enough to visit during the Lantern Festival, and it is an experience I will never forget. Bangkok will be where you fly in and out of, and there are tons of temples and markets to visit here. Bangkok is actually one of my favorite cities in the world. Then you have the islands in the south. The islands will of course be more expensive. I paid $20 per night for my hostel in Koh Phi Phi and about $5 per night for my hostels throughout the rest of Thailand. Hotels will range from about $20 to $80 per night, but of course some people will want to splurge, and these nice 5-star resorts you could find from starting at about $100 to about $200. When you think about it, that's the price of motels these days in the US. Then street food costed me about $2 per meal, but expect to pay more on the islands of course, and more at sit-down restaurants. Next up is El Salvador. El Salvador is a country that recently came onto my radar. While I was in Guatemala, everybody was raving about El Salvador. It seems to be a new favorite amongst backpackers. And because they don't see many tourists, the prices are said to be very affordable as well. Since I haven't been here myself, I don't have a ton of information about it, but if you are planning on backpacking Central America anytime soon, I wouldn't miss it. Morocco. You could have incredible experiences in Morocco, such as glamping in the Sahara Desert, sandboarding, or just exploring the markets with some mint tea, all for an affordable price. I have seen hostels here for as low as $3 US. I have seen their famous riads for starting at about $100, and then I've seen normal hotel rooms for about $60 US. Expect to spend about $1 to $5 for street food and $5 to $10 for restaurants. Another affordable destination in Southeast Asia is Indonesia. When Indonesia comes to mind, a lot of people just think of Bali, but there's actually so much more to Indonesia. Although Bali is an affordable option, prices have risen in recent years. But as a reminder, there are hundreds of other islands in Indonesia. Places to check out near Bali include the Gili Islands, the Komodo Islands, and Nusa Penida. I'm sure you've seen photos of Nusa Penida, but did you know that you could also swim here with manta rays? There are also waterfalls and volcanoes in Java. There's Raja Ampat, Sumatra, Borneo, and so many more hidden gems. Georgia. Georgia may just be the most underrated place on earth. If you like mountains and cheap prices, this is the country for you. Think European Alps, but at a fraction of the price. It is worth noting that I have not actually been to Georgia, but it has been on the top of my bucket list for so long now. The whole Eurasia region of the world is highly underrated in my opinion. That concludes my list of affordable travel destinations to visit this year. Please add your own budget travel destinations in the comments and let me know where you're planning on visiting this year.